Hello, everyone. I would be a little bit more ambitious today. I feel like I really phoned it in with my songs last week. So I'm going to give you something to start out the show by a composer you've probably never heard of unless you're a singer. But he was a very successful American 20th century composer called Samuel Barber. And I just like this song because it's weird. You have to also imagine that people, one of whom is playing the piano and one of whom is singing. And I maybe shot myself in the foot a little bit because both of the parts are quite hard, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. This is a Greenland lowland of pianos. In the evening, as far as the eye can see, herds of black pianos, up to their knees in the mire, they listen to the frogs. They gurgle in water with rapture. They are entranced by froggish monotony. After the vacation, they cause scandals in a concert hall during the artistic milking. Suddenly, they lie down like frogs, looking with indifference at the white flowers of the audience, at the gesticulating of the black pianos, black pianos. And now let me hand you over to your host, Adam Bailey.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have an awesome show for you. We have Victoria Urquhart with us, who's a fabulous director and creative in Toronto, and we also have the DJ and vocalist, Sandy Duperval, with us today. It's going to be a fabulous show. But first, it is the first day of spring. I'm very excited about that. We're 1 year into the pandemic, and we're 6 weeks into Joe Biden's new administration. And the thing everyone's talking about Joe Biden 6 weeks into his administration is his huge package. Joe Biden has a huge package that he has spread across America, $1.9 trillion of COVID relief given to all these American citizens. And you want to know who loves Joe Biden's huge package? Everybody, Democratic voters, Republican voters, everybody loves Joe Biden's huge package. And it's not just his huge package that everybody's in love with. They're also in love with his little prick, because Joe Biden has been getting vaccinations out to the American people. He said he was going to get 100 million vaccines out by his first 100 days, and he is galloping past that goal already. He's going so fast that just yesterday he signed an agreement allowing the US to share vaccines with Mexico and Canada. And I don't know about Mexico, but sitting here in Ontario, where we're standing on the edge of a third wave with a government that has no idea what they're doing locally, I'm sure happy to hear that we have some vaccines coming into the country. So it turns out that Joe Biden, whether he has a little prick or a huge package knows exactly what to do with what he has. And that leaves Republican pundits and politicians with very little to gripe over or talk about. There's no policy position that they can really disagree with Joe Biden on. And that is why you have been hearing so much about the culture wars recently in your media. You know what I'm talking about, the whole cancel culture stuff, how Dr. Zeus is being canceled, or the Potato Head family is being canceled, or Pepe Le Pew is being canceled. But I just need to say that none of them were canceled. These were all marketing decisions made by big corporate media companies to help them sell more products. There were no cancelings. In fact, while the right is griping about culture wars, there are signs on the left that the rail guards between the different aspects of our culture have been softened just a little bit as of late. For instance, in the past 2 weeks, Bruno Mars has put out a new album. It's very exciting. What a talented musician, Bruno Mars. Now, this does mean that he's had to contend with some accusations of cultural appropriation that came up in 2018. And when I say accusations, I should be more specific that it was more specifically a singular accusation in the form of a blog essay that was published online and went viral. The media picked it up, and music industry, including Stevie Wonder, called these accusations bullshit. And in fact, the Black cultural magazine, The Root, wrote an article saying that this essay showed that people don't really understand what cultural appropriation is all about. The essay took off. It was very 2018, and people read it. But recently, Bruno Mars went on to...
Hey, Adam, can I give you a...
old accusations, and he said this. You can't look at an interview. You can't find an interview where I'm not talking about the entertainers that have come before me. The only reason why I'm here is because of James Brown, is because of Prince, Michael Jackson. That's the only reason I'm here. He went on to say, it's not a secret. We wear the inspiration on our sleeve. What is the point if us as musicians can't learn from the guys that have come before us? Why did they do it? I hope that later on, down the road, there's going to be a band that's taking what we did and flipping that and freaking that and putting their own spin on it. Because if they don't, then what was the point of us doing this? And this is a great take on it. It seems like he really understands what the accusations were about and what cultural appropriation is, and that he needs to, show respect for where he's getting his inspiration from. But that doesn't mean that he has to pick up his toys and go away. And it's not just me saying that. If you go on Twitter, where albeit only 7% of the population spends their time, you'll find most of the criticisms that we talk about in mass media when it comes to these culture wars coming from, most people are really on Bruno Mars's side here. They like his music. They think he has a right to sing the way that he's singing. And he does show a good amount of respect for where his traditions come from, even if they're not from the exact same racial origin that he is from. Now, we can flip this around and show an ad absurdum example from the other side. Let's talk about RuPaul's Drag Race season 13. Now, there is this drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race season 13 named Utica Queen. Here's a picture of her coming up right now. Now, Utica Queen is, as you can see, white as mayonnaise, and she is very, very woke. This year on the perennial favorite Snatch Game competition, where the RuPaul Drag Race competitors have to do an impersonation of a celebrity, Utica Queen chose to do Bob Ross. Now, Bob Ross is a white man who has a white person's afro, and Utica Queen did not want to offend anyone by wearing an afro, and felt that it would be better if she wore well, let's just show the slide. If she wore this, a head full of squirrels. She was so scared of offending anyone that she thought that this would better represent a white person with an afro than the actual hair that grew out of Bob Ross's head. And she did this after both RuPaul and the other Black queens on the show told her that this was not a good idea. And a lot of people were actually offended by this performative woke whiteness, which seriously, if they have to put a picture beside the terminology white liberal guilt in the dictionary, this is the one that goes beside it. This is absolutely ridiculous. And to put a finer point on it, the week after this was the week when the drag queens had to switch their look with another queen. So of course, the producers at RuPaul's Drag Race chose Simone as the queen that Utica would have to trade looks with. Now, Simone, as you can see here, is one of the very Black and proud queens on this year's Drag Race. And Simone decided she was going to dress Utica in a BAP, Black American Princess look. And at first, Utica was very, very hesitant to do this. Once again, very white and very afraid of being accused of cultural appropriation, but eventually realized that you gotta trust the Black woman when she speaks, and did the look, and the two ended up winning that week's competition. And not only that, this look was highly praised once again on Twitter. People thought that it was very tastefully done and really appreciated where this was coming from. Now, a couple of years back, RuPaul would have gotten slack for a stunt like that, but right now it seems that people have finally found some breath on the left to look at some nuance when it comes to these issues. Meanwhile, on the right, they're still hanging on to a very, pardon the pun, black and white ideology when it comes to cultural appropriation and the culture wars, and their motivation shows. And with that, I'd like to welcome back Kristin Mueller-Heaslip. We've got so much to talk about today, Kristin.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for your wonderful song off the top of the show.
Thank you. It's a weird song. I like it.
You do like weird songs, and I like that about you. Yeah, so we have a lot to discuss today. I hope, did you enjoy the monologue today, Kristin?
I did, and as someone with kind of big hair myself, I have to say it's pretty ridiculous to put squirrels on your head instead of just the person's hairstyle, though. I mean, that might be a more accurate description of what my hair looks like, but you know, it's okay to just put on the same hair that Bob Ross naturally had. Not
a head full of squirrels.
No.
It hurt. I've met those white people before. I mean, I hang in very white woke circles sometimes, and that I know the people who do that, and it's kind of, it can be frustrating and infuriating. It's white nonsense, I've sometimes heard that called. So
yeah, definitely.
Now, speaking of nonsense, International Women's Day came up recently, and I wanted to share this with you, something that Burger King put out on International Women's Day.
Yeah, I saw this as well. Yeah, this seemed like a good idea to someone to tweet "Women belong in the kitchen," and they followed it up by saying that women should have a better role in the side of the restaurant industry. Though I didn't think that Burger King in particular was gender segregated. It seems to be, you know, a lot of women working in fast food restaurants whenever I go into them, but you know, I have to say it's not bad advice. And the old joke is, of course, women belong in the kitchen. Knives are.
That's where all the knives are. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's one of those things where I like, they tweeted it, they spent money on print ads for it. Like, that wasn't just a tweet, it was a print ad too. Like, look at, sorry, the look on your face. Clearly in such bad taste. I feel like the 90s want to call and ask for their hipster irony aesthetic back. It just doesn't fly, because you really have to, we're into nuance right now, but that's still too nuanced. Like, women belong in the kitchen is a pretty old sexist saying. Yes, women need more respect in the kitchen. They need to have chef jobs. They need to be allowed to own the restaurant. But my God, that is the wrong way of going about it.
And you know what? Like, Burger King could just go and hire them and not do this. Like, if they want to make a difference, they're uniquely positioned to do so. No problem within Burger King's workforce. But instead, they did this. So that was a choice.
That was choices. Yeah, to quote Drag Race. Choices. And I swear that had to be written by a man, and an entire male ad team looked at that and was like, yes, this will get her point across, because there was not a woman looking at that and went, yeah, women are really going to like this on International Women's Day. They're going to be there with you. Next
up, let's bring some more vintage sexism back and have a car company tweet about how women can't drive or something like that. Because that's something you don't hear anymore. That's like 80s, 90s sexism, and that's kind of gone away.
bespoke sexism. We can bring back bespoke sexism. I think we should let all the women brew the beer for us again. That's something that we could, some bespoke sexism that we can have come back. Just let all the women brew all the beer for us while we. They did that actually because the raw hops, if men picked them, they cause impotency.
No, what?
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah. That's why women were brewmasters, was because a lot of the ingredients in their raw forms cause impotency. But because they're so produced now and genetically modified, they don't do that anymore. So that's why men can brew beer now. Yeah.
Oh, I know what. I was going to grow some hops in my garden, and I will not do that now.
I think they're probably all modified now, so you don't have to worry about that.
All right.
Now, we do have to. This is an awful segue. We do need to bring up the incident that happened in Atlanta this week. I decided to put a slide in just to show the names of the women who were, had an early end to their life by male violence. And this has been, dominating the news as it should the past couple days. Yeah. And one of the things I find disheartening, other than that it happened in and of itself, is just, once again, the right wing has been able to talk about the media because to have a bad day statement has dominated. Mm-hmm. But also there's no policy conversation coming out of this. And I find that really frustrating. Someone retweeted Dee D'Angelo's old tweet about not needing gun control, needing sun control. And I mean, in my brain, I'm like, no, we actually also need gun control. We need to talk about sex work as being real work. Kristin, do you have anything that you want to say?
Oh, okay. What do I have anything to say? It's funny that people, these problems like this seem really intractable until they're gone, right? There was a lot of violence associated with smuggling and stuff like that during the Prohibition eras in Canada and the US, because Canada also had Prohibition. And then they stopped Prohibition and all of that went away. It's not a problem anymore. So I feel like probably this could be, I'm looking forward to the time when this is like a historical footnote and people are like, wow, that really used to happen and people really used to live that way. Because if there's anything I've learned in my life in the last year, it's that you can change things whenever you want to. We have the power to change this whenever we decide to. And again, it's a choice. If we don't change it, it's a choice we're making. Not, but as a collective. So.
As a collective, yeah, I think I agree with that. I think this is systemic. Anti-Asian hate crimes have gone up 150% in the last year. Mm-hmm. And we do have the power to implement changes for this. Yeah. As I said, gun control is a great place to start. Looking at how we deal with legalized prostitution, which technically is legal in Canada, but they've legalized it in such a way that is basically still criminalized. How we look at even universal basic income is something that could help with situations like this, because then the people who are working at institutions like the ones that these women were working at, you would have more choice about whether or not they wanted to work there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And of course we don't have the ability to unpack all of it at this moment in time, but hopefully it's something that people take as a wake-up call and decide to make systemic changes towards solving these problems and not just saying platitudes.
Exactly. So now let's go back to being funny.
Let's go back to, yes. Okay, so do you have, it's predict the future time, isn't it?
Oh, Adam and Kristin predict the future. There we go. Again, I need to write a little theme song for this. Do you have a future prediction?
Do I have a future prediction based on everything that we've been saying today? I think, I think my prediction was sort of tied to my monologue. I think, we're headed away from the autocracy that we were threatened with a little bit. And I think that we are going to be heading towards a more joyous future. I recently was listening to a podcast where some pretty progressive people were talking about, if there's no dancing, it's not my revolution.
Yeah, and that's an old Emma Goldman quote, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm glad to hear things like this being said again, because it just, my prediction is a little bit of sunshine coming in. My prediction is sunshine.
That's a great thought. I am going to predict, I'm going to take a different tack from there, and I'm going to predict that Montreal will be invaded by all the raccoons currently getting kicked out of Toronto from the rent increases.
All the But isn't your family just a bunch of raccoons in trench coats? Because
basically, yeah, we're the vanguard. No, there's no raccoons in Montreal. I love seeing. That's one thing I miss about Toronto is all the cute raccoon stories. I love those when they pop up in my social. So viewers at home, if you want to share some cute raccoon stories with us, please feel free to do so through our Facebook page, because I always love to see them.
Well, Kristin, I want to thank you so much. We have to start looking towards getting Victoria on, because she is so fantastic and the audience deserves to meet her. But before that, let's talk about the way that you can support us, which is by giving us a coffee.
Yes, you can buy us a coffee, ko-fi.com/thisisatalkshow. Oh, and I wanted to say, I love it when I'm listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube show and they read out the names of people who've donated and they have dumb joke names. So especially if it's something serious, like you're like, this is our 7-part investigation into abuses in the private prison system. And they're like, Weed Lord, for your generous contribution. I always love that. So if you want me to if you want to donate for us, put any name you like in that name box and I will read it on the air. Within limits, I will not say any racial slurs or personal insults, obviously. I will not be like, Adam is a dope for 2069 or whatever. I will probably not read that, but use your creativity, guys.
That'll be my mom. That she'll be the one that.
Okay, if it's from your mom, I'll read whatever thing she wants to say about you. She's earned it.
she had to live with me for 19 years. So someone who did not have to live with me for 19 years is our next guest, who is a Toronto director, Shakespeare enthusiast, and cabaret performer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome to our screens, Victoria Urquhart. Yay! Hi, Victoria. How are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic. So what's been going on? You actually are one of the artists during COVID, during Miss COVID's visit to us, that has been doing stuff pretty consistently. So just jump in, and why don't you tell us some of that that's going on for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Everything. So I started out working nonstop in just producing these bi-weekly shows of Shakespeare's training. And that went on for a good long time. And then we kind of realized, oh, Shakespeare's may not happen this year. And that was where things really grew, for my company, for myself, for my work as an artist. What
is your company called, so people know?
Oh, hey, that's kind of important. The Spur-of-the-Moment Shakespeare Collective is a collective and company that combines classical and contemporary text and practice to engage communities and combat isolation. So our flagship program is the Shakespeare in Hospitals program. I am also just an artist that is learning who I am outside of that, because I've been running that for 10 years. So much.
But this should also be your moment. I mean, if there's a moment in time where we need to combat isolation, it is right now, girl.
Oh yeah, the entire world's in isolation. So like the entire world right now is my audience, and who I am looking to serve. Yeah. We've been taking a little bit of time lately to sit and research. We're in conversations with a lot of hospitals, with a lot of groups, and we're really looking to build on what performances will look like in 2022. We're taking this year as like a big build year. There will be a few programs and things that I can't quite talk about yet that will be happening this year, but in the meantime, you'll probably catch the odd Instagram, YouTube, or 2 or 5. Oh man, now I'm just getting ambitious. and just like looking at the process, looking at all the things that we're doing, looking at all of that infrastructure that we're building to not only, you know, bring quality shows, but also to bring quality management, quality accountability, quality people work. We have so much people work to do.
You've always been a very good person at people work. I've seen your shows before, and you actually have you before this year were striving towards a more equitable workplace with people not being barred from entry. I remember you did a show that was like half in Spanish, half in English, if I recall, at the Toronto Fringe one time, which was absolutely beautiful. And as I said, like just going to people who are like have the barrier of being ill and being at the hospital and not being currently able-bodied, you've been bringing them good work. So give yourself a pat on the back for the stuff that you have achieved. Although we all have work going forward, we all have work, but I think, you know, you've been doing it and you have that history. So that's fantastic. Now, I do know that you also have something funny that's happening tonight.
Yes. So I'm a part of the Cosmo Cabaret with the Paprika Festival and the Social Distancing Festival and Thespo. It is a very unique cabaret in the sense that we are literally connecting on opposite sides of the world. A bunch of Canadians are a bunch of, it's a combination of Canadian artists from Toronto, Vancouver, and I am missing several details because my brain is just not putting it all together right now, as well as a large gathering of artists from India, and we've collaborated to create a variety of different scenes, different pieces. There's spoken word, there's drag, there's these beautiful performances, and I consider myself so lucky to have had the opportunity to get to interact and play with these wonderful individuals.
Now, how can people see that tonight?
There is a Twitch link, as well as if you go to the Paprika Festival's page, it should be at their Facebook page specifically. It should be right at the top of their page. And I hear there might be some links flying around, you know, somewhere.
Wings. You're talking to a former Cupid performer. Wings. I love my wings. I also love chicken wings. So if anyone can send me some chicken wings through the mail, you can skip the dishes. Just send me some chicken wings. I would very much love that. I like sweet and spicy, so if you can mix some hot sauce with some honey garlic, that's like the perfect one right there. Or the Winnipeg surprise. I love that dill lemon flavor that they do out there. Yum, yes.
Love it.
If you ever go to Winnipeg, you have to have the Winnipeg sauce that they put on their wings. It's fantastic.
All right.
Torey, I'm excited to talk to you, but I do want to get to the other guests. Will you stick around and do the news with us?
I mean, I guess.
Okay, yes, I'm looking forward to it. Fantastic. So thank you for joining us and talking with us, Torey. We'll get back to you in a moment, but until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to your screens the singer, the performer, the turntablist, Sandy Duperval.
All right, I'm so sorry for this technical glitch. Hey, I hope y'all can hear me. Oh, yeah. Fitting in where I don't belong was never part of my plan. Been there, done that, time to move on. My head up for all that I am. I need to run away, to run away. I need to run away, to run away. Oh, yeah. To run away, to run away. I don't know about you, but I'm quite excited about things. I really hope this is the beginning of the end. I need to run, because I want to run away. Hey. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes only. The best things in life are free. Don't you tell me what I can do. I won't change my colors for you. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors for you. I need to run away. To run away. Run away. To run away. I need to run away. To run away. To run away. I just wanna run away. I need to run away. Fitting in. No, it was never part of my plan. Fitting in where I don't belong was never part of my plan. In the end, I follow my heart and do it all over again. I follow my heart, I do it all over again.
Wow, everybody, thank you so much, Sandy Duperval.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I love that song. I've heard that song before from you and it's gorgeous.
Thank you so much. It's coming soon. I'm just waiting for COVID to just let me be. Let me be great.
No, Sandy, I've heard a lot of your music because you have been a performer at the Queen West Art Crawl more than once, many times. And I wonder, because I've developed a love for your music, where can other people who enjoy your music find it?
Well, right now, most of my music is on SoundCloud. So soundcloud.com/Sandy Duperval. I know it's a very strange name, but the reason is my grandmother raised me and she's the one who motivated me, inspired me, and pushed me to make music. So I always wanted to keep her name. So Duperval.
I don't think that's a strange sounding name at all. Why would you? I love it's your grandmother's name.
I'm telling you, some people call me Superval. I'm like, I heard Laval, I heard Duval. I'm like,
I mean, you are super. I think that might be a compliment. They might have just been putting the two words together. Is it Duperval? Yes, and she's Superval. You could kind of go with that.
It's made.
We have a Torontonian who lives in Montreal hosting with us today, but we also have you who are from Montreal originally, and now you're living in Toronto.
Yeah, I go to George Brown.
What, you go to George Brown?
I'm actually a student as well. It's funny. Well, it's a long story. But again, that's my grandmother. She was a chef. And when she passed away, I promised I would carry on our dreams. So I went back to school. I'm finishing my bachelor's degree in culinary management.
Oh my good. We've hit on so many things in our opening that are like,
yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that Burger King ad?
Oh my God. First of all, I used to work for Burger King, so I'm like canceling my own self. I just find that, a lot of people are clout chasing, and that was a chase. That was like, why? It was so unnecessary.
I 100% agree. That is so, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was a McDonald's person. I worked at the McDonald's in Belleville. I think it was, no, Tim Hortons was the number 13 Tim Hortons. I don't remember what number the McDonald's was. I got fired because I refused to assume people's gender and give the Hot Wheels toy to the boys and the Barbie toy to the girls. I asked every family what toy they wanted, and one family got really upset at me asking, and this is like 1990s, me in high school, obviously like a flaming teenager back in the day when that was, and I got fired from McDonald's for asking which toy. Oh my God, I can't believe I said their name. Like, it wasn't the corporation of McDonald's that fired me. It was an individual manager at McDonald's who fired me. Please don't sue me, McDonald's.
No, but you know what? I used to work for McDonald's as well. So it surprises me how times and politics really change the way we behave. Because today, if this was to happen, McDonald's would have been jumping on the bandwagon and being like, no, we support non-binary. So yeah, it was the 90s.
It was the 90s, and that was my like, I refuse to assume anyone's anything. Boys can play with dolls.
You were so before your time. I mean,
yeah, they said I had an agenda, and I was just like,
fast forward to today. Well, I guess your agenda is
my agenda won. Well, it's not. It's a push. It's a pull. It's a push. It's a pull. We all know that is how it goes. Speaking of the push and pull that I brought up with the with Bruno Mars, did you have any thoughts on that either, or?
You know what? I'm a fan of Bruno. I understand his position and how people feel. Now, I don't think when it comes to music and food, and especially the way that you pay homage, there is a fine line between appropriation and just being inspired and influenced. I mean, I'm of Haitian descent, born in Canada. When I go to Haiti, they're just like, where do you come from? You know, so we are a product of our environment. And I think there are ways that we can put all these cultures, especially me being from Montreal, being in Toronto, the Toronto culture is now my culture. But am I going to go somewhere and be like, yeah, I'm from Toronto? No, I can belong without taking over. And I think there are lines that we're drawing, but we need to really pick our battles because it could just never end.
I love what you said, belong without taking over, because I think that's really a part of the nuance that maybe, I mean, like, there was obvious reasons for us to be sensitive.
Yeah.
It's happening, right? Like, and I hate that. Why are you so sensitive? Well, look, look around you.
Right.
But at the same time, like, as someone who moved to Toronto and I've lived here for over 20 years now, when I leave this city, the first thing I miss is the Caribbean food. Like, it takes me about a week before I'm like, I can't get a Jamaican patty anywhere. I can't get jerk chicken. I'm really upset. And this is a boy from Belleville who's complaining about my lack of Jamaican patty and jerk chicken and all of that food. And I'm just like, I did a test one time. Someone's sitting around the Fringe Circuit. I'm in Edmonton, and there's a little BuzzFeed thing. It's like, we can guess where you're from in Canada from 10 questions. And I'm like, okay. And the first question was, which food reminds you most of what city you're from? And there was a plate of poutine and a plate of jerk chicken, and I clicked the jerk chicken, and the entire survey ended within one question for me. And it was like, you're from Toronto. Done. No more questions. No more questions. And I was like, well.
And it's so true. I'm Haitian. In Montreal, when you talk about Black culture, it's either people are going to associate it with Haitian culture or African. When you're in Toronto, first thing you think about is West Indies. When you talk about Black Torontonian, they're mainly from the West Indies. So most people, you'll assume they're from Jamaica. So, but these are the cultures that have influenced your environment. Are you going to deny them or pretend like they don't exist or you don't like them just because you don't want to offend anyone? So I think there's just a way when it comes down to cultural appropriation, especially for Bruno Mars. I mean, he's been doing the same thing for so long. Now, what is he doing differently now that suddenly people are getting offended? So I think there's, like you were saying earlier, there's the fake woke, oh my God, everything offends me. And there's just people who can make the difference. What Black people are asking is not for people to dismiss culture or to, don't say certain things or do certain things. It's about, we would love for people to hold the governments and the authorities accountable for what's happening to our people. But at the end of the day, I'll sit down with you, we'll have jerk chicken. I'm not even from Jamaica. So I think there's, like you said, you can love things and you can enjoy them and they can be part of your culture because they are part of Toronto culture. But at the end of the day, you're not going around being like, yeah, I'm Jamaican. You know, like we have to be logical about, you know, what is acceptable and what isn't, or else we're just going to bicker and we have enough stress around us.
Yeah, there's too much stress in this world right now. Although the next segment's going to be all about all that stress because we're going to be doing the news next. You do have a fair bit to say and I love what you have to say. So do you want to do the news with us?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Why don't you come and get yourself comfortable? I'm going to invite the other two people back to the screen and we're going to talk news with everyone. Kristin, Torey, come back to the screen. It's time for us to get ready and talk about the news.
So excited.
Hello. We're just gonna wait. I know Sandy's moving her camera for us, so thank you, Sandy. And while she does that, I will just explain how the news is going to work. Basically, Kristin and I found a number of funny articles over the past 2 weeks that we thought were ridiculous, and we have compiled them in who knows what order. Kristin will bring the news article up. She'll explain what the headline is all about, and then I will pick either Torey or Sandy to start the conversation, and then we'll round robin from there. Does that make sense? Fantastic. So why don't we give our starting screen?
All right, here we go. This is a news segment, and this has been a banner 2 weeks for strange and wonderful news. So let's get started with some natural history. Oh no, sorry, not that. Biden White House sandbag staffers sidelines dozens for pot use. So some staffers who you know, like everyone else in the world had used pot in the past are suddenly not able to work anymore because this is a security risk. Thoughts?
Torey, we haven't heard from you in a while.
I was reading the headline and taking in audio at the same time. Can I see it again?
Oh yeah, sure. Here you go.
So yeah, it reads, reefer sadness. Several staffers were informally told by transition officials that some past marijuana use could be overlooked, only to later be told that they were being asked to resign. So, Torey, do you have any thoughts on the pot use of White House staffers and Joe Biden? Anti-weed stance in 2021.
Cool beans, cool beans, cool. Well, they're definitely not in Canada, but even Canada is having this problem. So, the base thought is, can I swear on here?
Yes, please do.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
please.
My base thought is what the fuck. But I mean, also, my second thought is this my daily what the fuck? Or is this my hourly what the fuck? Or is this my like what the fuck of the week?
Oh no, your what the fuck of the week is later on in the news segment.
We have more what the fuck for you.
Yeah.
Andy, what are your thoughts on this?
Like, on a scale here, I'm gonna file this for right now in like my daily what the fuck. I have a feeling that might very quickly slide to my hourly what the fuck as we go on.
Okay, so when we finish today, we're gonna have to ask you before we go, what lands in your daily, your hourly, and your weekly what the fuck? Because I want to know which three articles you remember the most.
I'm here for this. Yeah.
Sandy, do you have any thoughts on this betrayal? Joe Biden turning his back on his weed smoking staffers?
You know, I was excited because I heard they're gonna it's legal statewide. Now, I hope this doesn't, because I actually want to smoke when I go there. I hope this doesn't influence anything. But I mean, part of me is laughing, obviously, because I'm like, really? But then I think it's the White House. There's been a lot of crazy things happening. Do you want your staff to be a bit, you know, high or whatever? Okay, maybe for security purposes, but seriously, I think everybody could use a little smoke.
Yeah.
Obama smoked weed and he was open about it. It wasn't even like Clinton, like I didn't. Obama told us he smoked weed. And he was the one who got the most done. He passed health care. Well, a modified health care. He got something on that. So
medicinal purposes. I know a ton of people who are functioning with cognitive disabilities who are required to be able to smoke to function.
Yep, I knew now past activist who was really big on that. She had really chronic diabetes and issues with that required her to smoke marijuana, and that's a thing. You might be your prescription.
I know someone who discovered that her pug had epilepsy because she stopped smoking pot in her house and the dog started having seizures. So she'd been accidentally treating epilepsy.
Okay, you know what? I think
that's why Joe Biden's dog bit someone.
There you
there
go.
wasn't enough reefer in the White House.
Champ Major needs to just chill.
I'm gonna file that one in my hourly. What the fuck? I really like that. That's a good what the fuck. That's a good what the fuck. Yeah,
okay, so what's our next story?
All right, now we have our natural history news. A nice little selection of animal stories. So we'll go through these first, and then I'm gonna play a video. Penguin escapes killer whales by jumping into sightseeing boat. Good on you, penguin. Octopus steals camera and wins underwater photography competition. This is the photo. It's amazing, and I hope he gets to keep the prize. A Montreal area cat tested positive for COVID-19 and had to isolate. I put that one up mostly for the picture of the cat. Sad. Though how could you really tell if a cat was self-isolating? And the last one, I'm actually going to stop sharing and start again because I'm going to play a video now. And I need to turn on sharing for sound. Okay.
Suddenly I heard,
And this is who Anthony Fitzgerald heard roaring last night, an Arctic walrus believed to have come across the ocean all the way from Greenland, landing on Valentia Island.
So there you have it. We have a cat with COVID, an octopus winning a photography competition, a penguin getting away from some killer whales by jumping on a boat, accidentally showing up in Ireland. So take it away.
Sandy, it's your turn to start.
Animals are taking over. Wow. I think that's the most amazing thing I've heard in the past year. So yeah, kudos to all the animals taking over our craziness.
Oh, the cat's fine, by the way. If anyone's worried the cat has no symptoms, it was a project to see if cats could transmit COVID to their owners. So they did discover some cats who had COVID, but the cat is fine. I just want to make sure our animal-loving audience is not distressed about this cat.
No animals were harmed in this news segment.
No.
I gotta say, like, one of the big versions of appropriation that we don't talk about enough is space appropriation, like the loss of the queer neighborhoods and like how white infill and how our internet use caused space appropriation. And I think that these animals are just, we're taking over their space, so they're just taking it back. They're like, you want to be out here when I'm being chased by a killer whale? Help me. You want to take pictures of me? That's not your picture to take. That's my picture to take. I'm going to get the prize. You want to give me COVID? Oh shit, I have COVID.
I wonder what kind of mask they would make for a cat.
Oh, they wouldn't wear it no matter what you made. So
I love cats. They're like, oh, get out of here with your mask.
Yeah, they would be going to Adamson Barbecue. They would be like, you can't mask me. They'd be like, more hugs, less masks. Actually,
watch out now for a cat protest.
They're at Queen's Park today.
I often go to like kiss my partner's cat before I go, and that's not a euphemism. And I have my mask on, so I go, and the cat's like, No, get that away. So, yep.
Cats hate masks. That's the Dr. Seuss book that needs to be written now, The Cat and the Mask.
Yeah.
This is the perfect non sequitur logical fallacy that every conservative party everywhere must adopt.
They don't have policies anymore. They're a lifestyle brand. Let's just put them in the same aisle that you put your Rachel Ray and your Martha Stewart dishes and just ignore them because they cost too much money.
Okay, I'm going to skip the next story because we're running out of time. But here's a great one. Little explanation. Quebec government legislates to avoid shutdown in the event of Queen Elizabeth's death. So in 1982, the Parti Quebec deleted every reference to the monarchy from Quebec's constitution or whatever, or our founding documents. And they didn't realize that they accidentally made it so that if the Queen dies or abdicates, it will shut the government down. And no one noticed this for 39 years until like the other day. Like, oh shit, we have to pass some legislation now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, Sandy, you're from Montreal, so I'm going to toss this one back to you again. This is yours.
I don't know where I'm from.
Montreal, you're from Montreal. So.
Can I be canceled? No.
No.
I'm just like, listen, I'm going to steal, Torey, I'm going to steal your what the fuck moment, because I'm just like, what the?
Please do, please do.
Let me point out the Queen is 94 years old. Like, this has been a ticking time bomb for a really long time, right?
Apparently 39 years.
You know, Montreal is being shut down. Maybe it would be a good thing to have the like government shut down for a little bit so we can catch a break.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you put too many guardrails on protecting your culture sometimes, that you're thinking too ideologically and not practically enough. And the Quebecois consistently show us this aspect of that, because they are rightfully a group that doesn't, that they're not a minority, they're not a majority group, they're a minority group. And yet everything they do to protect themselves seems to like backfire in weird ways.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just
Torey, do you have anything that you want to add to your love of the Queen? Do you love the Queen? What are your thoughts on the Queen, Torey? You have Victoria as your name. You're named after a queen.
Oh, don't even get me started there. I was due on Victoria Day, and that was the only time I was ever early in my life. Yeah. Oh gosh. My partner's mother might be watching, and my partner's mother loves the Queen. The Queen has given some structure to many individuals' lives. And all of that being said, I've got to say, I'm leaning in my current days. I'm leaning towards not so fond of the Queen lately. And the Queen's on a journey. And I wish the Queen well on her journey.
Yeah. Well, we can all agree we hate Prince Charles, right? Fuck that guy. That's fine. Yeah, but fuck that guy. All right. Moving on. I like to call our science segment News from Space. It's not really from space today. So I got a couple stories in here. Scientists want to send 7 million sperm samples to the moon. There's an idea to have an archive of Earth's biological material on the moon. I don't know why I want to put it on the moon. I think the argument was about seismic activity or something like that. Like, they're already thinking what happens if we all die. Maybe some aliens will find. We want those guys back. More science news. Modern alchemists turn airborne CO2 into diamonds. And I would love if this became part of our climate change solution, and there's just like diamond everything, right? It's like diamonds become incredibly cheap because like we're just like pulling them out of the air. So thoughts: sperm on the moon, diamond toothbrushes.
You're gonna pick one to start with. Torey, do you want to pick diamonds on the
moon now? What the? Okay, so this is high on the what the fuck. This is I think this is my this is an extreme. This is either gonna fall in the hourly what the fuck or the weekly what the fuck. Because on the one hand, the amount of time that I get what the fuck running through my head just from scrolling the internet, that's pretty frequent, and like this is just bizarre enough to fall into there. But on the other hand, we're gonna take of all the DNA choices, and maybe this is just my extreme lack of understanding of science, but of all of the DNA choices and things that we want to file away for someone to find, it's sperm. It's sperm. Like,
Sandy, that leaves you with diamonds to talk about. What are your thoughts on diamonds?
Sperm was so good. I'm so about it. No, but seriously, I mean, CO2 into diamonds. I mean, what? God, I don't think there's much to say. What are we gonna do with all the diamonds?
I think the bears might become a huge problem. Like, this is the solution to climate change. And suddenly, like, the diamond lobby is going to be like, no, they must come from the ground. The suffering is what makes your engagement important. Like, there's just going to be...
What if we didn't have to pay thousands of dollars for a rock? Yeah, that would be...
Well, yeah. It's still quite expensive to make a diamond out of air. But, like, they're just getting started. So I'm sure they'll...
Who knows the guy?
Yeah.
I wonder, is this the project that the actor who plays Iron Man? This is my malapropism right out here. Robert Downey Jr. Is this the climate change project that he was like, I'm going to solve it?
Yeah,
that's it.
I want that to be the truth. I want boom right there. Kristin, what's next?
Yes, next we have more climate change non-news. Or whether to declare climate change is real at policy convention. And I just saw a little while ago that they did not. They voted no.
Oh, right. So yeah, Canada's having their conservative convention right now, which didn't make the monologue, but it's making this point. Sorry, guys. Sandy, Torey started last time, so you get to start. What the conservatives, climate change, it's not real. What do you think?
Oh God. See, this is when I wish I could smoke one. It's like my blood pressure is rising. God.
I mean, I personally hate that this minor part of the population has so much power because of geographic majorities. And I understand why regional areas need their own representatives. And I understand why cognitively humans have a hard time with geographic majorities, because it seems really unfair that people who live in one tiny dot control this much land. And I mean, let's talk to some Indigenous people about that too. One tiny dot controlling this much land. But when you turn this into policy, we have these people who refuse to listen to facts or science. It's very frustrating.
Going outside and not being able to breathe quality air, or seeing how our environment is crippled. I mean, should the environment just punch them in the face for them to be like,
yes.
I think this is real? I mean, I don't know.
A localized tornado would be very appropriate.
We just need one of those animals from the other slide to come and like beat them up.
When I lived in Mississauga, I actually saw the result of a localized tornado. I used to take the bus to work, and I was on Dundas in Mississauga, where it's nothing but strip malls. Like, it's mini mall after mini mall after mini mall. And one day we went by, and where there was a mini mall before, the entire mini mall stood except for one store. And I asked what happened about the one store, and someone's like, oh, a tornado hit it. In a mini mall, a singular store got hit by a tornado. So
didn't they like anger Thor like that?
I don't know which one does win. Thor is thunder and lightning.
Right? Can we order it on Amazon? Because I've got a couple tornadoes I need to send.
I don't want Jeff Bezos to have that power.
But like not Amazon.com.
Oh.
Yeah,
like
it's like not Amazon and not Uber teamed up.
What about just your local bookstore? Just your local bookstore.
There you go. All right. So moving on, here's a terrible story I'm sorry to share with you. Activist Milo Yiannopoulos is now ex-gay, consecrating his life to Saint Joseph. So because no one's paying attention to Milo these days, he's decided to cultivate a new fan group, which is traditional Catholics. He's married, right? And he has demoted his husband to a roommate, and this is working out for them. So do not read this article. It's really hateful. I felt very bad for reading it. But I do think that it's funny that he has chosen as his patron saint, Saint Joseph, the stepdad of Jesus. It's a bit fitting somehow. Yeah.
So
I have a lot of anger and a lot of things. Yeah, Sandy, go.
So not to Jesus, only to Saint Joseph, but through Catholic religion.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't know what his religious affiliation was, if he's converted or whatever, but he is, yes, apparently he is especially devoted to Saint Joseph, who I guess is the patron saint of cucks.
Wow.
Do you want to say anything about this, Sandy?
I grew up in a religious household. I've got people sending me hate messages about being a lesbian, and it's usually people who kind of sort of look like they need to come out. But who am I to you know? At the same time, I find it very interesting. The part that really I'm focused on is how he demoted his husband into a roommate, and he's still in the house. I mean,
apparently.
COVID. They share a bubble. Torey, any thoughts from you?
Oh gosh, so many feelings. I mean, as someone who identifies as queer and comes from the privilege of being straight passing, and who went through a lot of that questioning in my life, and is in this like time of, oh, okay, where do my vulnerabilities and where do my privileges intersect? Buddy cannot go through that with, like, Buddy cannot demote his housemate without demoting himself, and it sounds like he's doing himself a lot of harm in this process. Who hurt you, man?
I mean, if he still wants him to be in the house, it already says a lot about, like you said, about himself.
Yeah.
Are you holding on to that side of you because you know it's just there, but you also want to hold on to your faith, and now you're just doing these policies inside your house? I'm laughing, but I also think it's, like you said, Torey, it's sad. But this is actually a lot larger than we know. This is one article, but this is the reality of thousands of people. Like in Quebec and Montreal, only 10% of the queer community goes out. So 90% of people that identify as queer are either a good percentage in the closet, still going in and like confused or scared. So I would want to ask him a lot of questions.
Well, you probably wouldn't. He's a pretty terrible person, and honestly, this is a grift. He's just trying to make some money off of Catholics now. I think,
right. We're the 75% queer group today. No, I'm on that too, because this is where I am. It's such an individualistic minority set. It's the only one that you're born as and not into. Like, no one trains you, no one raises you to be queer. And so the complications with that, even for a self-loathing gay like Milo, I hate that I have the ounce of empathy for him. I hate it. But I know that it's so confusing. And for Torey to say what you just said about like what it's like to have passingness. And as I age, I've expressed this on the show too, as an aging male presenting queer person, it's complicated. I have a lot of passing privilege especially online now, right? Like, and that carries so much weight with it. Like, what do you do with this shit? And then you go into the rest of the world, you interact with other people with minority statuses, and you don't have the mutual care trained into you that other minority statuses have, the way that women know what women go through, the way that people who are of visible minority statuses know what each other go through. Queer people don't know that with each other. It's a scary space to go into, and you appropriate and you do things wrong and you say the wrong things and you get in trouble. And Milo is someone who took all that and went to the other, he took all that and went to the other side with it. And now he's like, damn it, I'm feeling too much for him.
Yeah, you are feeling too much for him.
It took me 10 years to come out, and it was torture between like going to church, not belonging, being out, not belonging. It's like everywhere you go, you don't belong. So now when you're going out of your way to belong, but you know you're still conflicted, I don't know. It's
you're still conflicted. There's always that conflict, because also queer people get chopped from their roots too. So whatever your home-based culture is, you're like I'm from white trash, but I don't live in Belleville anymore. No one equates me that. I'm middle class passing, but I was never raised in the middle class, and I still don't make that money. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a middle class white person, but I get treated like one, which has its perks. But I don't have my history of my family in the same way that other people do. And I know it's true for people from a lot of backgrounds. Mm-hmm. If you're Catholic, you lose your Catholicness. If you're Jewish, you can lose your Jewishness. If you're Black, you can lose your, obviously you don't, the cops don't say that, but like you can lose. It's just, it's so, wow. This is, Kristin, you picked a deep one.
I'm touched to see all the empathy happening here for Milo, and I hope that someday he's able to show it for someone else. So let's end on a positive note. I always with a real upbeat story. So here we go. Two Stones Waxworks in San Antonio removes the Trump figure because people keep punching it. Oh, it doesn't look like him at all either. It's a really bad job. It kind of looks like I don't know. It's the nose is wrong, the eyebrows are wrong, the hair is wrong, and why is he next to Putin? I don't know. But
cringing. You don't look the same.
Anyway,
Torey, Victoria, Sandy got to start the last time. You get to start this one.
Did they really have to remove it though? Like, could they just maybe that's an interactive part of the exhibit, and then you get some catharsis.
Oh man, it's the Trump punching station. I love it.
I mean, I know I've always walked into I don't know, maybe 3 times that I've walked into a wax museum. There are some wax figures in there that you want to punch, if not out of absolute fear and phobia of wax figures. There's at least one wax figure in there that you're like, really, this one, this is the person you figured this would be a good wax figure of. Cool. I have so much deep anger.
A listener, a viewer, Vashti, thinks that he looks like a bad version of Paul McCartney, which is pretty close.
That's low. That's like recognizing that William Shatner is Mike Myers. Come on.
Yeah.
Stan, did you have anything you want to add to that?
I'm done.
I'm just going to say, I see Trump, and my reaction is the microphone from The Great Dictator. You know when Charlie Chaplin's being Hitler, and the microphone, whenever he talks to the mics all go like. That's my reaction to that. Okay.
I know it's wax, but I'm like, can I smoke here, please?
Ironically, Trump might be more okay with you smoking around him than Biden. Biden's very squeaky.
I'm really shocked. I think, I'm a little disappointed, but hey.
Trump doesn't do drugs, but he doesn't seem to mind people who do, because everyone around him is like fucking high on cocaine all the time. Torey, what was your hourly, daily, and weekly what the fuck from today?
Okay, let's see. So most the science definitely fell into the hourly, because I could scroll and find that and be like, oh. The daily, the one of the days, I think that the daily might be Trump punching. Punch me some Trumps. And now I'm gonna get blacklisted on Twitter. Everyone follow me _nightnet. Oh, that might be my Instagram. I can't remember. And then my weekly is definitely the Queen. Weekly with the Queen.
Yeah. Quebec accidentally cancels the Queen. It's a great story.
How can people find you tonight and in the future, Victoria?
So I do have an actor page. It's under Victoria Urquhart. Yes, I use my full name. And I will be posting the Twitch link for the Cosmo Cabaret there. You can also find it on the Paprika Festival's Facebook page, as mentioned. I believe it is a very simple link. I think it's just
already in the down below too.
Yeah, it should be in the description box here.
Oh, then there you go.
Watching, yeah.
Fantastic. And Sandy, sorry.
From there, you'll find my Twitter, my Instagram. The Spur-of-the-Moment Shakespeare Collective is literally spurofthemomentshakespeare.com.
Fantastic. And Sandy, how do we get in touch with you if we want to get your music or find out more about you?
SandyDuperval.com. I'm on IG and Facebook, but I'm a little like on the older side generation, so I really still need to check my messages from last week. But yeah, just SandyDuperval.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for both joining us. We were very pleased to have both of you today. We were excellent guests. In 2 weeks, we'll be back and we have returning guest Daniel Krolik with us. He is from Bitchy Gay Men, Bad Gay Movies. And this is our second time having him. He is our first repeat guest. And then we have the internationally acclaimed storyteller and stage sensation Martin Dockery joining us in 2 weeks. Who knows what he'll say, because when you watch his shows, that's what you're always thinking anyways too. They're both joining us in 2 weeks. It'll be fantastic. Until then, it was great hanging out with y'all. I think we have some more plugs to do for ourselves.
Absolutely, Adam. We have, once again, you can buy us a coffee, ko-fi.com/thisisatalkshow. The show will always be free, but we appreciate a little treat every now and then. And I will read your not making this up, put something dumb in there and I'll read it on the air. You can also check out the Middle-Aged Candy Store, a podcast project I'm working on. Adam was actually on the last episode. He and I played twin supermodels who refused to take solo gigs. And you can also buy my new album, Present from a Small Distant World /Small Distant World, if you like more weird music. And I just want to say, if you are a fan of Tina Turner, she is retiring, and there's a documentary about her and her fantastic life and career. So that's all for now.
Okay, and what are you going to sing us out with?
I'm going to sing a Tina Turner song, guys. How could I not?
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristin Mueller-Heaslip.
Yeah. Okay. So, as I said, I'm going to get us, sing us out today with a Tina Turner song. There are so many good ones to choose from, so I picked the most obvious. You must understand how the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That's only the thrill of boy meeting girl. It's attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I've read it someplace, I've a cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. That's all for tonight, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.